The stars looked different from inside the UEN horizon. Captain John Miller stood on the bridge, watching the swirling colors of the hyperspace tunnel fade away. His crew gathered around the main screen as space returned to normal. "We're here, sir," said Lieutenant Sarah Foster, the navigation officer. Her hands moved across the glowing controls. Centros Prime in visual range. John felt his heart beat faster. Centros Prime was the headquarters of the Galactic Council. It was humanity's first time meeting other intelligent life. The station looked like a giant ring, spinning slowly against the backdrop of stars. Lights blinked across its surface. Ships, of all shapes and sizes, moved in and out of the docking bays. "This is it, people," John said. "We're representing all of Earth today." Dr. Lisa Chen, the science officer, moved to the captain's side. She wore her best uniform, though she kept adjusting her collar nervously. "The readings are amazing, Captain. Their technology is at least 50 years ahead of ours." "That's why we're here," John replied. "To learn, to make friends, to show them what humanity can offer." A deep voice crackled through the speakers. "UN Horizon, this is Centros Prime Control. You are cleared for docking Bay 94. Welcome to the galactic community." As the ship moved toward the station, John's second-in-command, David Williams, joined them on the bridge. He was a tall man with graying temples, a military veteran who had seen it all. "The crew is ready, sir. Dress uniforms, gifts prepared, translators tested and retested." Through the view screen they could see the docking bay opening like a massive mouth. Inside, beings of different shapes and sizes moved about. Some had multiple arms. Others floated without touching the ground. A few looked almost human, but with different colored skin or extra eyes. The horizon slid smoothly into the dock. As the airlock connected, John straightened his jacket one last time. "Remember our mission. We're here to learn, to share, and to build trust. Earth's future might depend on what happens today." The hatch opened with a soft hiss. Bright lights spilled in from the station. Standing in the entrance was a being that looked like a cross between a cat and a lizard. It stood on two legs, wearing what appeared to be ceremonial robes. "Welcome," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Crixthel of the Dominari species. The Council has been waiting to meet Earth's representatives." John stepped forward and extended his hand. "Captain John Miller of the United Earth Nations. We're honored to be here." Crixthel's face showed what might have been a smile. "The honor is ours. Come, the council chamber awaits." The walk through Centros Prime filled humanity's diplomats with wonder. Transparent tunnels showed the vastness of space. Gardens grew plants in impossible colors. Beings of countless species worked together in laboratories and workshops. Sarah Foster gasped at a room where gravity seemed to work in different directions. "It's beautiful," she whispered to David Williams. "Stay focused," David replied quietly. "Beautiful things can hide sharp teeth." They entered the Grand Council chamber. It was shaped like an amphitheater, with seats rising in circles toward the ceiling. Hundreds of alien beings filled the seats. At the center stood a podium where yet another alien waited. This one was taller than the others, with skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. "Representatives of Earth," the being announced. "I am Chief Counselor Vexra. We welcome you to the greatest gathering of civilized species in the galaxy." The chamber erupted in various sounds that the translator interpreted as applause. John felt Dr. Chen's hand on his arm, squeezing slightly. They were really doing this. First contact, the moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries. Vexra continued. "Earth has shown itself to be resourceful and determined. Your primitive craft managed to reach our beacon signals. Impressive for a species so young." John noticed the word primitive, but decided not to let it bother him. "We're eager to learn from more advanced civilizations. We believe that cooperation benefits everyone." "Indeed," Vexra nodded. "The Council has prepared a cultural exchange program. You will share your knowledge of Earth and we will share ours with you. Ambassador Crixthel will be your guide." Over the next 6 months, humanity's small team worked tirelessly. They showed Earth's art, music, and technology to interested aliens. They attended lectures on quantum physics, biological adaptation, and stellar engineering. Lisa Chen spent countless hours with Centauri scientists, sharing medical discoveries. David Williams exchanged military tactics with the Karathi Defense Force. Everything seemed perfect. The other species were friendly, if sometimes condescending. They praised humanity's creativity while pointing out the quaintness of Earth's solutions to problems. "Your use of internal combustion engines is charming," a Haraki engineer told Sarah Foster. "Like watching children play with toys." "We've found that sometimes simple solutions work best," Sarah replied carefully. Of course, the engineer agreed. "Every species has their phase of primitive thinking. You'll grow out of it." John spent many evenings with Crixthel, learning about galactic politics. The council maintained peace among 42 different species. They shared resources, solved disputes, and protected weaker civilizations from space pirates and natural disasters. "It sounds like a wonderful system," John said one evening over a meal that looked like blue pasta. "Earth would be honored to join." "Many are eager to welcome you," Crixthel replied, "though some worry about your military nature." "We prefer peace," John assured him, "but we believe in being prepared." "A wise philosophy," Crixthel agreed. "Just remember that here, among friends, such preparations are unnecessary." As the months passed, humanity gathered more technology. Dr. Lisa Chen's medical breakthroughs extended human life by 10 years. David Williams adapted alien training methods to improve Earth's defense forces. Lisa Kelly from the engineering team helped develop more efficient engines for space travel. The council praised their progress. "You adapt quickly," Vexra noted during a formal dinner, "perhaps too quickly for some older species to feel comfortable." "Is that a problem?" John asked. "Not at all." Vexra waved one appendage dismissively. "Change is the nature of the universe. Those who can't adapt will fall behind." But there were moments that made John uneasy. Sometimes whispered conversations would stop when humans entered a room. Security protocols seemed stricter for Earth's delegation than for others. Requests for certain technologies were denied with vague explanations about cultural compatibility. David Williams noticed these things too. "Something doesn't feel right," he told John privately one night. "They're too careful around us, too watchful." "Maybe they're just being cautious," John suggested. "We're newcomers. They need time to trust us." "Maybe," David agreed reluctantly. "But I've met enough politicians to know when someone's hiding something." The turning point came during the annual technology showcase. Each species presented their greatest achievements. Earth's team demonstrated a new fusion reactor design that improved upon the Council's standard model by 30%. The chamber fell silent. Then slowly applause began. But John saw the glances exchanged between council members. They looked worried, even afraid. "Remarkable," Vexra said. "Such innovation from such young minds." But in that moment, John understood. The council didn't just see them as primitive newcomers. They saw them as a potential threat. The friendly, smiles and helpful advice had another purpose: to control Earth's development, to keep them dependent, to prevent them from becoming equals. That night, John called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. In the privacy of their quarters, they discussed what to do. "We need to be careful," David warned. "If they see us as a threat now, pushing too hard could be dangerous." "But we can't stop advancing," Lisa argued. "It's who we are as a species." "Then we play their game," John decided. "We smile, we thank them for their help, and we learn everything we can, but we also prepare, because I have a feeling this friendship might not last." The next morning, the team acted as if nothing had changed. They continued their research, attended the meetings, and expressed gratitude for the council's help. But privately, they began documenting everything. Every technology, every defense system, every weakness in the council's setup. Sarah Foster started noticing patterns in ship movements. Lisa Chen quietly studied the biological vulnerabilities of different species. David Williams mapped the station's security systems. They continued this double life for weeks. By day, they were Earth's grateful ambassadors. By night, they prepared for a future they hoped would never come. Then, one morning, everything changed. Crixthel arrived with an unusual request. The Council has decided it's time to formalize Earth's relationship with the Galactic community, he announced. Tomorrow we will sign a permanent alliance treaty. John felt a chill run down his spine. That sounds wonderful. What does the treaty involve? Standard procedures, Crixthel assured him. Protection, trade agreements, and, of course, some necessary restrictions on certain technologies for galactic security. Restrictions? Just on military applications, you understand. The Council must maintain peace. Surely Earth can agree that some weapons are too dangerous for general use? John forced a smile. Of course, we're all for peace. As Crixthel left, David Williams turned to his captain. The treaty signing ceremony began exactly at sunrise by station time. The Grand Hall had been decorated with symbols from all member species. John Miller and his team walked through the massive doors wearing their best dress uniforms. Hundreds of aliens watched them from the circular viewing galleries above. At the center of the room stood an ornate table. The treaty document floated above it in a holographic display. Vexra waited beside the table with his color-shifting skin rippling with what John had learned was excitement. Welcome, representatives of Earth, Vexra announced. Today marks a historic moment. Earth joins the galactic community fully. John approached the table with his senior officers. He could feel tension in the air despite the smiles and friendly sounds from the crowd. David Williams walked slightly behind, eyes scanning the room's exits. If you would sign here, Crixthel indicated with one clawed hand. Just a formality to seal our friendship. John hesitated. The treaty document flowed with text that changed languages automatically. Some sections seemed to appear and disappear too quickly to read. I'd like to review the document one more time, John said carefully. Of course, Vexra agreed, but his color shifts turned darker. Though we do have other matters to attend to, today. John scrolled through the holographic document. One clause made his heart stop. Hidden among pages of trade agreements and resource sharing was a line about technology oversight. Earth would submit all military developments for Council approval. All defensive capabilities would be standardized with Council systems. This section about military control, John began. Just a standard safety measure, Crixthel interrupted. After all, Earth's creative approach to violence concerns some members. You want to control our defenses, David Williams stated bluntly. We want to maintain peace, Vexra corrected. Surely you understand. Dr. Lisa Chen stepped forward. Captain, if we sign this, Earth becomes dependent on Council protection. We lose our independence. A murmur went through the watching crowd. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others leaned forward, interested in the drama. John looked at each of his officers. They all knew what this meant. Earth had two choices: submit to Council control or face the consequences. I believe this agreement needs more discussion, John said carefully. Earth cannot surrender its right to self-defense. Vexra's colors darkened to almost black. Unfortunate. We had hoped Earth would choose wisdom. The lights in the chamber suddenly dimmed. Emergency lighting cast red shadows across the walls. John felt a strange tingling in his head. What's happening? Sarah Foster asked, her hand moving toward her sidearm. Neural dampener, David Williams shouted, recognizing the technology from his military briefings. Don't move. Static electricity crackled around the room. The dampener waves washed over the human delegation. Some species were immune, protected by shielding or natural resistance. Humanity had no such defense. John tried to give orders but couldn't speak. His muscles refused to obey. His team collapsed around him, paralyzed but conscious. They could only watch as guards emerged from hidden panels in the walls. You were warned, Vexra said, standing over them. The Council offered friendship. You chose defiance. Crixithel approached John's immobilized form. Your species has potential. Great potential. Too much potential. We couldn't risk you developing without guidance. The dampener's effect slowly wore off after what felt like hours. By then, humanity's delegation was confined to secure quarters under guard. The treaty remained unsigned. 48 hours, the alien guard announced through the door. Your government has 48 hours to submit. Sign the treaty or face consequences. Inside their prison, the human team gathered strength. David Williams checked everyone for injuries. Lisa Chen examined their quarters for surveillance devices while Sarah Foster worked on the communication terminal. The neural dampener was Dominari technology, David explained. Crixthel's species built it. They've been planning this. Can we send a warning to Earth? John asked. Sarah shook her head in frustration. They've blocked all communications except theirs. We can receive but not transmit. John paced the small room. Through the window, he could see ships moving around Centros Prime. Everything looked normal to the outside observer. But he knew the truth now. The Galactic Council wasn't a benevolent organization. They were conquerors who offered choice only, to maintain the illusion of consent. Captain, Lisa spoke up. Before they captured us, I placed the emergency beacon inside my lab equipment. It's small, but it might work if activated. The beacon uses gravitational waves, David added. Hard to detect or block, but someone would need to get to the lab to activate it. That's in the science wing, Sarah pointed out. Heavily guarded. John considered their options. We need to try. Earth needs to know what's really happening here. They spent the next hours planning. Each person memorized the station's layout. They identified guard patterns and weak points in security. When night cycle began, Centros Prime maintained day-night cycles for species from day-night planets. They put their plan into action. David Williams created a distraction by faking a medical emergency. When guards entered to investigate, the team overpowered them quickly and quietly. They took the guards' access cards and weapons. Moving through the station's maintenance corridors, they reached Lisa's lab without raising alarms. The beacon was hidden inside what looked like a simple radiation detector. Lisa's hands shook slightly as she activated it. Signal away, she whispered. Now we just have to hope someone's listening. But their success was short-lived. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in warning patterns. They know we escaped, Sarah said, checking her stolen weapon. The team retreated to defensive positions in the lab. Through the windows, they could see ships preparing to launch from Centros Prime. The Council wasn't waiting for Earth's decision anymore. We need to see what they're doing, John decided. He accessed the lab's main terminal using the guards' passwords. The screen filled with tactical displays. His blood ran cold. A fleet, David whispered. They're sending a fleet to Earth. The display showed 500 warships preparing for hyperspace. Battle plans glowed on the screens. Initial targets: Luna Base, the orbital defense platforms, Earth's communication satellites. They never intended to let us choose, Lisa realized. This was always the plan. Offer the treaty, and when we refuse, invade. How long until they reach Earth? John demanded. Sarah calculated quickly. With their drives? 5 days. Then Earth has 5 days to prepare. John stood straighter. We did what we could. Earth knows now. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. The guards were coming for them with heavy weapons this time. Barricade the door, David ordered. We hold as long as we can. As they prepared their final defense in the lab, John felt strangely calm. They had failed to prevent the invasion, but they had succeeded in warning Earth. Now humanity's fate rested with those back home. The door exploded inward. Council security forces poured through, weapons firing. The human team returned fire using the equipment for cover. Sparks and smoke filled the lab. John saw David fall, hit by an energy blast. Sarah screamed in rage and emptied her weapon into the attacking guards. Lisa worked frantically to destroy the lab's data, ensuring the Council wouldn't learn Earth's defensive capabilities before the battle. Captain, Lisa shouted. The beacon worked. We picked up Earth's confirmed receipt. Signal. They know. They know everything. As overwhelming force surrounded them, John smiled. They had succeeded in their true mission, ensuring Earth would fight with their eyes open. Light years away, military commanders on Earth received the warning data. General Robert Shaw called an emergency meeting of the Joint Chiefs. The war room, illuminated with tactical displays as Earth's finest strategic minds began planning humanity's defense. They'll hit Luna first, Shaw analyzed. Then the orbital platforms. We have 5 days. What are our chances, General? President William Carter asked. Shaw looked at the president grimly. Against 500 ships with superior technology. Honestly, minimal. But we're Earth. We don't surrender. Earth entered crisis mode. Evacuations began in major cities. Underground, bunkers built in secret for exactly this scenario activated. The military mobilized every ship, every weapon, every soldier. Dr. Marcus Thompson, Earth's leading physicist, led teams working day and night to weaponize human technology against the Council's ships. We can't match their power, he explained to his exhausted team. But we can exploit their weaknesses. 5 days passed too quickly. Long-range sensors picked up the incoming Council fleet. They arrived at the edge of the solar system in perfect formation, their ships gleaming with deadly purpose. All forces, General Shaw broadcast. Remember our people in the Council. Remember what they sacrificed. Fight for Earth. Fight for humanity. Fight to win. The battle for Earth began with Council ships dropping out of hyperspace near Luna. Human defenders met them with everything they had. Missiles, kinetic weapons, energy beams. Humanity threw its arsenal at the invaders. The lunar surface shook with explosions. Human ships like the UNS Liberty and UNS Vigilance fought heroically against impossible odds. Pilots made suicide runs against enemy capital ships. Ground batteries poured fire into the sky. They're breaking through. 300 meters below the surface of the Rocky Mountains, humanity's resistance began. The Deep Underground Network, or DUN, consisted of massive bunkers connected by tunnels that spiderwebbed across the continent. Each bunker held thousands of people, enough supplies for years, and most importantly, manufacturing facilities to continue the fight. Dr. Richard Hayes stood in DUN Alpha's main command center, watching holographic displays show the devastation above. As humanity's chief scientific coordinator for the resistance, he carried the weight of finding a way to fight back against impossible odds. Status report, he called out. Lieutenant Sarah Martinez, his second in command, pulled up the latest data. Global death toll now exceeds 400 million. Major cities are 70% destroyed. But the DUN network is secure. We have 250 million people safely in bunkers across all continents. And our manufacturing capabilities? Online and producing at full capacity, she confirmed. The Council thinks they destroyed our industry, but they don't know about the underground factories. Dr. Hayes nodded grimly. What about space assets? Admiral Catherine Price reports the asteroid mining stations remain undetected. She's ready to begin guerrilla operations on your order. In Hidden Station Echo, orbiting an uninhabited moon's debris field, Admiral Price reviewed her meager fleet. 10 ships. Not the modern vessels with Council technology, but old mining ships retrofit with weapons. Her plan wasn't to win space battles. It was to disrupt and destroy. Captain Joe Bennett, she called to her first commander. Take 3 ships to Sector 7, hit the supply convoy we detected. Don't engage their warships, hit and run only. Bennett saluted. Understood, Admiral. We'll make them pay for every ton of supplies. Back on Earth, Colonel James Harrison led survivor training programs. In converted subway tunnels and underground parking structures, civilians became soldiers. The training was brutal and necessary. The Council's weapons are powerful but predictable, Harrison explained to a group of new recruits. They rely on energy shields and focused beams, but they forgot about basic physics. He held up a simple kinetic round. This is your best friend. No fancy tech, just mass and velocity. It'll punch through their shields because it doesn't use energy. Former office worker Patricia Adams raised her hand. How do we get close enough to use these? Harrison smiled darkly. That's where we get creative. The council owns space, but we own the ground. We use their superiority against them. Using salvaged equipment and human ingenuity, the underground resistance developed new tactics. Engineers led by Marcus Thompson found that Earth's primitive technology had unexpected advantages. The Council's shields deflect energy weapons, Thompson explained to his team. They neutralize nuclear blasts, but they're useless against mass impact. We need to think old school. His breakthrough came when studying captured Council drones. Their control systems use quantum entanglement, very advanced, but also very fragile. An EMP blast scrambles their connection. The drones become useless junk. Dr. Lisa Kennedy, coordinating medical efforts from Dun Beta, identified biological weaknesses in Council species. The Dominari have sensitive respiratory systems. The Karathi can't handle certain frequencies of sound. We can develop non-lethal weapons that incapacitate them. 6 months after the initial attack, Earth struck back. Admiral Price's fleet began hitting Council supply lines. Bennett's ships would appear suddenly from asteroid fields, launch attacks, and vanish before reinforcements arrived. Supply depot destroyed, Bennett reported after one raid. Minimal casualties. Ship modifications are working perfectly. The Council grew concerned. Their perfect invasion was experiencing unexpected problems. Equipment failures, missing supplies, communication disruptions. Small wounds, but adding up to a painful pattern. On Earth's surface, Colonel Harrison led his first major operation. Council occupiers had set up atmospheric processors in former cities, beginning the terraforming process. For them, Earth was a resource to be harvested. Tonight, we show them this resource bites back, Harrison told his strike team. Under cover of darkness, human fighters emerged from hidden tunnels. They carried jury-rigged EMP grenades, simple devices built in underground workshops. The Council, guards never expected ground assault. Their scanners looked for advanced weapons, not plastic explosives and metal parts. The attack was swift and brutal. EMP grenades disabled alien equipment. Kinetic weapons punched through energy shields. Hand-to-hand combat finished what technology started. The atmospheric processor exploded in a fireball visible for miles. Council reinforcements arrived too, late. The humans had retreated into the tunnel network, disappearing like ghosts. Only smoking wreckage and disabled guard patrols remained. Impressive, Crixthel admitted in the Council war room. They adapt quickly. It's desperation. Vexra. Dismissed. Random acts of defiance, nothing that threatens our operation. But the attacks continued, increased in frequency, became more sophisticated. Human engineers studied every captured piece of technology. Every failed Council attack taught new lessons. In the depths of Dun Gamma, Dr. Richard Hayes made a critical discovery. Their shield generators work on harmonic frequencies. If we can replicate the frequency exactly, we can create resonance that shatters the shield, finished his assistant, Rachel Lopez. Basic physics, we just need to get close enough to implement it. The breakthrough led to Earth's first successful space engagement. Admiral Price led a carefully planned assault on a lone Council cruiser. Her ships carried modified mining drills that projected the shield-disrupting frequency. Maintain distance, Price ordered. Project the frequency field. When shields fail, fire all kinetics. The battle lasted 7 minutes. The Council cruiser, stripped of its primary defense, couldn't withstand the barrage of mass driver rounds. It broke apart, the first Council ship destroyed by human forces. The victory was celebrated throughout Earth's resistance network, but Price remained cautious. This was one ship. They have hundreds. We've shown we can fight, but we're still vastly outnumbered. On the surface, civilian resistance grew stronger. People emerged from hiding not to surrender, but to sabotage. Former farmers disrupted food production facilities. Retired engineers sabotaged equipment just enough to cause failures later. Children learned to dodge patrols and plant tracking devices. The humans are like parasites, complained a Council administrator. We control the territory, but they make it unusable. Crixthel studied reports of increasing resistance. They're transforming civilian infrastructure into military advantages. Evacuation points become ambush zones. Hospitals hide weapon production. Schools teach combat skills. Meanwhile, Earth's scientific community made rapid advances. Dr. Lisa Kennedy's team developed biological countermeasures. We've synthesized compounds that neutralize their adaptogenic advantages. They won't die from our diseases. We're not monsters, but they'll be weakened. Aerosol packages spread harmless bacteria throughout infected zones. Council soldiers found themselves suffering from allergies, fatigue, and organ stress. Nothing deadly, but enough to reduce combat effectiveness significantly. Colonel Harrison escalated ground operations. Human fighters learned to use the Council's strict hierarchical command structure against them. Capture low-level soldiers, extract information about their orders, then feed them false information before escape. The psychological warfare proved devastating. Council officers received reports of human attacks that never happened. Resources were diverted to defend locations that weren't threatened. Paranoia spread through their ranks. In space, Admiral Price expanded operations. Her growing fleet included captured ships, retrofit with human technology. "We don't match their power," she explained to her crew. "We exceed their expectations. Use their assumptions against them." Stealth became Earth's greatest weapon. Ships painted to look like space debris, underground bases that appeared as natural formations, communication systems that piggybacked on Council networks. "They see us as primitive because we don't use their technology," General Robert Shaw noted in a strategic meeting. "Let them keep thinking that. While they look for advanced signatures, our primitive weapons find their marks." The tide began turning after 9 months of resistance. Council supply lines were in shambles. Their ground forces were demoralized and ineffective. Space operations required constant vigilance against human attacks. "The Earth problem requires reconsideration," Vexra finally admitted to the Council. "These humans are not the easy conquest we anticipated." But Earth's leaders knew the war was far from over. They had proven they could fight. They had shown the Council that humanity wouldn't surrender. However, they still faced a technologically superior enemy with vast resources. "We've become the underdog that bites," Admiral Price remarked. "But underdogs don't win wars. We need to become something the Council has never faced before. We need to become their worst nightmare." As Earth steeled itself for the next phase of the war scattered across the solar system, human minds worked on solutions. Scientists pushed boundaries, engineers challenged physics, military leaders planned increasingly bold operations. The Council had attacked Earth thinking it would be a simple victory. They found instead a species that adapted, improvised, and refused to surrender. Every day of resistance taught human.
1 year after the invasion, Earth launched Operation Retribution. In a hidden asteroid base, Dr. Marcus Thompson revealed his greatest achievement to Earth's military leadership. "We've cracked their shield technology," Thompson announced, pointing to complex equations on the holographic display.
"Not just disrupting it, we understand it completely now." General Robert Shaw studied the data carefully. "If we understand it, can we improve it?" Thompson smiled. "We already have. Our version is 40% more efficient and doesn't share their vulnerability to resonance disruption." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Young engineer Lisa Martinez, fresh out of university before the war, had noticed something the Council's own scientists had missed. "They're so focused on quantum perfection they ignore simple physics," she explained. "Their shields try to stop everything. Ours can be selective." Building the first prototype ships took 3 months, in converted mining facilities throughout the solar system. Human workers assembled vessels that looked primitive on the outside but hid revolutionary technology. The ships used Earth's kinetic weapons alongside reverse-engineered Council technology. Commander Joseph Walker led the first test mission. His ship, the UNS Storm, looked like a retrofitted transport vessel, but beneath worn paint and patchwork armor lay humanity's most advanced creation. "Shields at 100%, reported his weapons officer, Captain Richard Chase. "Ready for combat testing." The test came sooner than expected. A Council patrol discovered their position and moved to intercept. Walker's crew watched as 4 enemy fighters, approached. "Here we go," Walker said calmly. "Remember your training. We're not the same humans they invaded." The battle lasted less than 2 minutes. Earth's new shields absorbed the Council's energy weapons without strain. Human kinetic weapons, guided by superior targeting systems, destroyed 3 fighters outright. The 4th surrendered after its shields failed. "Target surrendering, sir," Chase reported. "Take them alive," Walker ordered. "New priority. Capture, interrogate, learn." The interrogation of the captured pilot revealed a critical weakness in the Council's strategy. Their supply lines depended on rare crystals from the Nexari mining system. Without these crystals, their ship's power cores would fail within weeks. Admiral Catherine Price saw the opportunity immediately. "No crystals, no fleet. We take Nexari. We cripple their entire operation in this sector." The mission required humanity's best. Colonel Patricia Adams led the ground assault team. Her soldiers were veterans now, hardened by a year of fighting. They carried weapons specifically designed to exploit newly discovered weaknesses in Council armor and biology. Rachel Torres, now a decorated combat pilot, led the space element. Her squadron of modified mining ships had been equipped with the new shield technology and experimental weapons. The approach to Nexari required extreme stealth. Council scanner networks protected the system heavily. Torres employed an old Earth tactic, hiding in plain sight. "We're broadcasting mining signatures," she explained to her squadron. "To them, we're just resource gatherers heading for an empty asteroid field." The ships passed through 3 security checkpoints unchallenged. Council forces were still looking for advanced technology, not clever deception. Nexari's surface held 12 mining colonies, each producing crystals essential for Council power systems. Adams' strike team descended under cover of atmospheric interference, using craft designed to look like damaged freighters making emergency landings. "Remember," Adams briefed her team moments before landing, "these are civilian miners. We hit infrastructure, not people. Take control centers, destroy processing facilities, but minimize casualties." The ground assault erupted with precision, violence. EMP weapons neutralized automated defenses. Council security forces, expecting peaceful miners below and watching for threats from space, were caught completely unprepared. Adams led her platoon into the main command center. The Council administrator, a tall being with crystalline skin, tried to activate security protocols. "Stand down," Adams commanded, her weapon trained on the alien. "We're taking control of this facility. Cooperate, and no one gets hurt." The administrator's translator crackled with disbelief. "Humans? Impossible. You can't reach Nexari. Your technology—" "Our technology evolved," Adams interrupted. "Surrender the facility, or we start destroying equipment." Simultaneously, Torres's squadron revealed their true nature. Ships that had appeared damaged suddenly activated combat systems. The orbital defense platform, designed to repel major fleet attacks, was vulnerable to attacks from within its perimeter. "Orbital platform disabled," Torres reported as explosions bloomed in space. They weren't expecting an inside attack. One by one, the mining colonies fell. In 6 hours, Earth's forces controlled Nexari's entire crystal production. Thousands of miners surrendered willingly. Many had grown to resent Council authority and high quotas. But the hardest part lay ahead. Dr. Benjamin Clark, now serving as Earth's chief science officer, had conceived a plan to weaponize the captured position. "Don't just take the crystals," he had advised. "Control the supply, make them dependent, then cut them off at the worst possible moment." Clark's team modified the mining equipment to extract crystals laced with precise impurities. These contaminated crystals would function normally for 2 weeks, then begin degrading Council power cores. "The sabotage is biological," Clark explained proudly. "Nanoscale organisms that survive in the vacuum of space. They multiply within the power cores, causing cascading failures." For 6 weeks after the Nexari capture, Earth fed contaminated crystals into the Council supply chain. Council ships received their regular supplies without suspicion. Clark's team even improved the crystal extraction process, providing better yields than before. They're pleased with us, the lead council overseer reported. Production rates are up 15%. Meanwhile, Earth prepared for the inevitable reaction. Humanity's military-industrial capacity had grown tremendously. The underground factories of Dun produced ships at rates that would have been impossible before the war. We're not just surviving anymore, General Shaw noted during a strategy session. We're preparing to win. The plan's culmination came exactly 2 weeks after the contamination began. Throughout Council space, power cores started failing. Ships lost propulsion. Stations went dark. Communication networks flickered and died. Colonel James Harrison launched ground operations to maximize the chaos. Strike teams emerged from hiding to attack power stations on occupied Earth. Without their main fleets operational, Council ground, forces found themselves isolated and vulnerable. Vengeance is best served systematically, Harrison remarked as another processing plant exploded under human assault. In Centros Prime, emergency meetings ran continuously. Crixthel reviewed damage. Reports with growing alarm. 82% of our fleet is affected, he reported. Power core failures are accelerating. Ships stranded in remote sectors won't reach proper maintenance for months. How? Bexra demanded. Our crystals were tested. The inspections. The humans. Crixthel realized with dawning horror. They didn't just attack Nexari. They weaponized our supply chain. The Council's counterattack was hampered by their own confusion. With their fleet crippled, they couldn't launch coordinated strikes. Individual ships that remained operational found themselves ambushed by Earth forces. Captain Sarah Foster, now commanding the UNS Victory, led one such engagement. Her ship intercepted a Council destroyer attempting to reach Earth. They've lost all arrogance, Foster observed as the enemy ship moved sluggishly. Power at 60% and dropping. Their weapons aren't even fully charged. The battle was anticlimactic. The Council destroyer's shields flickered and failed. Its weapons fired erratically. When Foster offered surrender terms, the enemy captain accepted immediately. Your species is clever beyond our understanding, the captured captain confided. We thought you primitive. We didn't realize you were learning from everything we did. While the Council reeled from their infrastructure collapse, Earth pushed its advantage. Combined human forces launched coordinated attacks on supply depots, communication hubs, and isolated outposts. Dr. Richard Hayes unveiled another innovation: psychological warfare based on Council biology. We can trigger their fight-or-flight responses using specific frequencies. Combined with our biological agents, we can make them panic without permanent harm. The effect was dramatic. Council forces, already demoralized by equipment failures, began retreating from advanced positions. Many chose to surrender rather than face increasingly sophisticated human attacks. Admiral Price orchestrated the space campaign with mathematical precision. We're still outnumbered, she reminded her staff, but they're scattered and confused. Pick targets carefully. Preserve our forces. Her strategy involved hit-and-run tactics that kept Council forces constantly off balance. Human ships would strike suddenly, usually against logistics vessels or isolated patrols, then vanish back into the asteroid fields. On Earth, civilian resistance reached its peak. Population centers the Council had occupied became centers of sabotage. Everyday objects turned into weapons. Children became couriers for resistance cells. Former scientists developed homemade explosives that bypassed alien detection systems. Every human is a potential threat, a Council occupational commander reported. We can't. 6 months after Nexari's capture, a heavily damaged Council ship approached the neutral station Haven's Rest. The message it carried was simple. Request negotiation with Earth representatives. Ambassador Helen Rodriguez, recently promoted from a survivor of the initial invasion, met the Council delegation. Crixthel entered the meeting room with none of his former pride. His once elegant scales were dull, his movements hesitant. Earth has proven stronger than we understood, Crixthel admitted. Your species, we failed to see your true nature. You saw us as primitive, Helen responded. But you forgot that primitives survive by any means necessary. The Council seeks peace, Crixthel pleaded. Hostilities must end. Our losses, your losses. Helen's voice hardened. 400 million of our people died. Our cities burned. You came to exterminate us. She activated a holographic display. Images showed Earth's devastation, piles of human dead, smoldering ruins where cities once stood. Then the images changed to show crippled council ships, surrendering soldiers, failing infrastructure. We didn't start this war, Helen continued, but we will finish it. While Helen negotiated, Earth's military prepared the final offensive. General Robert Shaw coordinated the largest human fleet ever assembled. 300 ships, including 50 captured and modified council vessels, gathered at the edge of council space. The primary target was Centros Prime itself. Dr. Benjamin Clark provided the key to victory, a virus specifically designed for council communication networks. It won't damage their computers, Clark explained. It will broadcast our truth to every species, every hidden crime, every lie about peaceful cooperation. Admiral Catherine Price led the assault force. Her flagship, the UNS Devastation, carried humanity's most advanced technology. The plan wasn't to destroy, but to expose. Communications ready, signaled Captain Rachel Torres. Virus package prepared. Price ordered the advance. Human ships emerged from hyperspace surrounding Centros Prime. Council defenses activated immediately, but half their weapon systems failed due to power core degradation. Broadcast the package, Price commanded. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds. The truth about the Council played on every screen. Secret recordings showed their contempt for member species. Financial records revealed how they exploited tribute worlds. Military files exposed plans to conquer other primitive civilizations. On Haven's Rest, Helen Rodriguez delivered her ultimatum. The Council dissolves today. All member species become equals. Any attempt to attack civilian populations will result in complete annihilation. Crixthel trembled. You would destroy us entirely? We learned from you how to wage total war, Helen replied. But we choose mercy. Disband the Council and your people live. Continue as tyrants and see what humans do when truly angered. The revelation broadcasts triggered immediate chaos. Council member species began withdrawing their support. The Karathi declared independence. The Zentari announced neutrality. Smaller species formed defensive alliances against their former protectors. Vexra made one final attempt at resistance. He ordered remaining loyal ships to mass for a counterattack. But when his command reached the fleet, most ships ignored it. Crews were mutinying. Some captains switched allegiance to their homeworlds. In the end, the Council crumbled from within. Vexra was arrested by his own security forces. Crixthel negotiated the peaceful surrender of remaining Council assets. Earth's victory was complete, but humanity faced a crucial choice about what came next. In the provisional government forming amid Centros Prime's ruins, human representatives pushed for a new system. No single species should hold such power, declared General Shaw. The galaxy needs balance, not domination. Over the following months, a new galactic order emerged. The old council dissolved, replaced by an alliance of equals. Trade flourished, under fair terms. Military cooperation focused on mutual defense rather than conquest. 5 years after the war's end, Captain John Miller stood on the bridge of the UNS Horizon. He had survived council imprisonment and now commanded humanity's flagship again. As he watched the stars, he thought of Vexra's words about humans being too dangerous to exist as equals. We proved your point, he said quietly to the space, where council ships once threatened. Just not how you meant it. Earth hadn't sought revenge through extinction. Instead, they had forced accountability and change. The galaxy now knew humanity as protectors rather than primitives, as innovators rather than imitators. The scars remained. Cities still bore ruins where millions had died, but humanity had transformed those losses into determination. Never again would they be caught unprepared. Never again would any species threaten their extinction. In schools across Earth and its colonies, children learned the real lesson of the war. Technology alone doesn't guarantee victory. Adaptability, determination, and wisdom matter more. The Council had superior ships but primitive thinking. Earth had primitive ships but superior adaptation. The galaxy remembered the war differently across species. Some called it the Council's downfall. Others termed it humanity's awakening. One thing united all perspectives. Earth had changed everything. No longer the newest member of galactic civilization, humanity became a founder of something better, a civilization based on cooperation rather than domination, a galaxy where strength served justice rather than conquest. Earth's devastating revenge hadn't just defeated the Council, it had transformed the meaning of galactic civilization itself. And that legacy would echo through the stars for generations to come.